I really struggled with my skin, just frustration at my skin not showing up in the way that I wanted it to.
Everyone talks about more steps, more actives, but what if better skin actually comes from less? Can minimalism coexist with results? Neada Deters, founder of LESSE, a certified organic skincare brand rooted in ritual, sustainability, and simplicity.
I'm an absolute mushroom fanatic, and I'm very excited about using more mushrooms in our future formulas, actually.
Many people would feel super daunted to try to start a skincare line.
People disregard how important skin is when it comes to our health and well-being.
There's a perception that more steps equal better results.
There is this misconception that when you're adding in more steps, you're doing more for your skin, when in fact, it's all about using nutrient-dense and multi-beneficial formulas.
There are so many brands that throw so many actives into a compound, and we sort of know there's diminishing returns.
Quick Band-Aid results don't translate into any kind of sustainable transformation.
Neada, I'm so happy to have you on the show today. When I first met you, I feel like I resonated with your personality and your ethos about skincare, also life. So pleasure to have you on. Thank you for coming.
Thank you so much for having me. I absolutely felt the same.
Oh, awesome. Yeah. And just tell us a little bit about yourself for the audience, how you came to think about skincare and how LESSE was born.
So we might have to start at the beginning for this. I was born and raised in Sydney, Australia, where of course we have such a focus on caring for our skin, protecting our skin from extreme UV exposure. And so my skincare journey really started from a very young age, being absolutely lathered in sunscreen before I walked out the door every morning, having a hat, which I was, having to pull out of my bag on the way to school. And that was really the kind of foundation, being immersed in nature, being in the sun and living this life that is very typical of a childhood in Sydney. Cut to my 20s, I moved to New York and I am now a writer and an editor. And I am focused on beauty. So I'm speaking to skincare experts from around the world. I am testing and reviewing products. I am analyzing ingredient lists and doing deep research into ingredients, their benefits and how they're derived and really how they interact with the skin. Well over a decade, I really struggled with my skin. So I had cystic acne, hyperpigmentation, and very sensitive skin, which I know we both have sensitive skin.
We're bonded.
Yes, yeah. We are bonded by that. And so I was, looking at these samples that I was being sent because as an editor, you really do try it all. I was analyzing these for both, review for our readers, but also really trying to find a solution for my own skincare woes. I really struggled to find anything that was effective in treating the all too common issues that I was dealing with, and that used really high quality natural ingredients. And I recognized that there was just such a, at least in my eyes, a lack of innovation through the use of natural ingredients. And yet we have this incredible category known as active botanicals.
Oh, yeah.
So, that is where you really see the synthesis of science and nature come together. After more, quite a number of years of really thinking this through and starting to kind of dream up these formulas that I knew would be so supportive of my skin and its needs, I finally realized that if I wanted these solutions, I was going to have to create them myself. And so I retired from editorial, of course, jumped on a plane straight to LA, cut away from the noise of New York for a bit to begin formulating what is now LESSE.
Amazing. That's a brilliant story. I love that. And I love how you're taking what you learned in childhood and then also applying it to issues you had as an adult and how you've, really crossed that border, that boundary. Because many people would feel super daunted to try to start a skincare line, but you did it and it's amazing. And your skin is amazing in person. And
Thank you.
All that sun protection really paid off.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mom and Dad.
Yeah, exactly. We got to give it to them. And to Australia, skin cancer capital of the world. And they've really done a great job about educating kids and parents about protecting themselves from the sun.
I mean, I think education is everything when it comes to skincare and sun protection. And absolutely, I mean, I think for some people, it almost takes a level of kind of quote unquote indoctrination, but
Yeah.
truly it is really meaningful education that you get from such a young age. And so you and I have talked about this before, but my childhood, I was in a long sleeve rash guard, thick zinc layer all over my face,
Yeah.
a hat with a flap at the back, tent on the beach, that kind of level of protection. I am grateful for it. And it was definitely informative in terms of me really thinking about my skin as a really central part of my health. Like so often, I think people disregard how interconnected and how important skin is when it comes to our health and well being, and how our skin is both a reflection of and kind of a portal to our health and the
Yeah, for
systems in
sure.
our body. So being from Australia, you learn that from a very young age.
That's amazing. I had the opposite experience in America. My family's Italian and they tan very well, if you can say that,
Mhm.
right? Because they
Yes.
have a lot of melanin. I was the fairest one of the group, and I did not tan nearly anywhere near what you could call a tan. So I was burnt all the time, and it just felt so uncomfortable
Mhm.
for me. And, skin cancer, I actually had a basal cell, which is the most common type of
Yeah,
skin cancer. And when you realize that you really can intervene and protect yourself is really important, and I just wish that message got out to more and more Americans.
completely. And I
Yeah.
mean, it's so important to protect your skin from a very young age, but throughout your entire life.
Yeah.
And I mean, my husband knows how rigorous I am in terms of just protection. I'm always asking him if he's put sunscreen on his
Good.
eyelids,
Yeah,
in his
exactly.
ears,
Yeah, in the ear too.
around his cuticles. There are all of these spots that we often overlook. Yes, I understand now why you became a dermatologist,
For sure.
being the one with more sensitive, fairer skin in
Oh,
your
yeah.
family.
And there's a perception that for a lot of people that more steps equal better results or more actives equal a better product. But the ethos around less is more. So tell me more about that. Tell me what your skincare routine is like.
Okay. Well, I think that there is this misconception that when you are adding in more steps, you're doing more for your skin, when in fact, it's all about using nutrient dense and multi beneficial formulas that they take care of the complexity for you. Because when you are over layering, that can actually compromise your skin barrier. And
Totally.
so it's really about the quality of the formulas that you're using. We really live and die by that philosophy at Less. Of course, the name Less derives from the philosophy of less is more. So
Yeah.
that's really central to what we do and the way we think about skincare. And my skincare ritual personally,
We're
to
getting
speak to
deep
that,
now. Yeah.
yes.
I think what you and I resonate with is that we have integrity in our formulas,
Mhm,
and we definitely have this focus on less actives,
mhm,
but more potent formulas
mhm,
that really do something and drive the skin to perform,
mhm,
which I really loved hearing from you as well, because we don't really see that in the industry. Like there are so many brands that throw so many actives into a compound,
absolutely.
and we sort of know there's diminishing returns, right? Because there's
Mhm,
only a set amount that you can put in.
mhm,
And before that, they're just putting in really low percentages of what
mhm.
they're calling an active, but it's not
Yeah.
really activating anything. So, what does skin integrity mean to you? And how do you protect it as a brand philosophy? Because I think it's so easy for us to just keep expanding, but you really created this nice curated formulation.
I love this question. I have to agree. When I was, obviously I tried all of your products, which are
Ah.
sublime. The formulas are so elegant. Of course, with my curious mind, I had to look at the ingredient lists and really loved each and every one of them.
Same about you.
Thank you. In terms of integrity, this is something that is so important to us. Really is kind of the foundation of the way that we think about everything that we do at Less. And I think we think about it both biologically and we all also think about it philosophically. So when we are thinking about skin integrity biologically, we're obviously thinking about how can we support the function of the skin? How can we provide exceptional microbiome supportive formulas that will continue to build resilience and allow the skin to flourish long term versus focusing on quick band-aid results that don't necessarily translate into any kind of sustainable transformation.
Yeah.
And I think that that is, you know, a myth that we need to really like hit on the head as we start to become, more educated on in kind of a broader sense as a society when it comes to skin, is that really consistency is key, and focusing on these core pillars of what good skin requires, what healthy, well-functioning skin requires is so key. Did that make sense?
Perfect. Yeah.
Okay.
I was going to actually lead up to that. And, hitting off of that, our customer is someone who's loyal, who's like
Mhm.
looking to really have a sustainable approach to their skin,
Mhm.
but also long term. They're not looking for a quick fix
Right.
necessarily. And this idea of skin cycling or just, churning through
Mhm.
all these different products, it's actually bad for your skin.
Mhm.
It can really freak it out.
Mhm.
So I like this idea that, you're building a sustainable
Mhm.
skincare regimen and brand. Yeah.
Thank you. I mean, I do think that the industry is so often focused on trends,
Oh, for sure.
trending
Yeah.
ingredients,
Social
and
media doesn't help. Yeah.
exactly. We hear about one ingredient, one kind of system, or one kind of form of application. Anyway, we need to move beyond trends,
Yeah,
and
totally.
that's so important. It's really, and obviously you do this so well. It's just focusing on the real science behind what skin
Yeah.
requires to function well, to heal quickly, and that's, I hope, the direction in which we're moving,
Yeah.
as an industry, and hopefully as a society. When we think about skin, we can give as much of a nudge as possible, but it also comes down to, I think, just continuing to underline those values and that approach as much as possible, and showing people that when you do move beyond trends, you can experience
Yeah.
exceptional results, and that's so key. Is you can't forego results in favor of any set of values when it comes to skin. As I'm sure you are so
Yeah.
abundantly
Yeah.
aware, people are constantly looking for the change that they want to see. And as someone who struggled with my skin for so long, and still I'm so careful about my skin, because I know how reactive it can
Mhm.
be, how easily, I can step one foot wrong, and I'll be struggling with my skin again. So it's all about focusing on how do we transform the way our skin is working, minimize how sensitive it is, help it to adapt so that it won't be triggered by environmental stresses. And yes, it's a
Yeah.
combination of all of the above.
You're speaking my love language. Yeah. And how do you make that sustainability resonate with the consumers from like a brand perspective without it feeling like too marketing or too gimmicky or just a checkbox?
I think sustainability is interesting because sustainability is such a marketing term.
Yeah.
And so I think this is a great topic to touch upon. I mean, I really believe in showing through action, ensuring that what you say you do, you're putting into practice before you even begin to speak to it. I mean, we have all of these sustainable practices that we adhere to at LESSE, but I think we could talk about it so much more than we do. But often we're just so busy with the actual act of ensuring that we are successful in reaching those standards day after day. And I mean, for us, it's really about committing as well to the evolution and the potential of what sustainable innovation lays ahead. Sorry, sustainable innovation lies ahead, because I do think often people see sustainability as this endpoint. We have an idea of what is sustainable
Yeah.
today in this context, but ultimately we hope that sustainability will progress. And so we'll actually see this as an evolving idea where we have more and more sustainable solutions moving forward. And I think being a brand, especially a brand that is putting products out into the world, if we can commit to embracing more sustainable solutions as they become available, I think that's what I admire most in other brands who have a more sustainable philosophy, and something that we are definitely committed to.
That's beautiful. I mean,
Thank you.
your integrity just really, shines through. And one thing we were talking about and hitting on a little bit is the integrity in formulations is really important as well. And, you know, for me, I never want to put out something that I would never use myself. And of course, I live and breathe by that. You know, what was interesting in Australia, there was this whole big scandal. We're going to spill the tea a little bit now. Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah. About this whole sunscreen scandal that all these different brands were really just manufactured by the same formula manufacturer, and they were all the same formula or the base formula. And it didn't really live up to the SPF and UVA protection that it said it did. And that's really disappointing because people rely on these as, you know, medical OTC, you know, products, OTC drugs. So, and they need to protect their skin. You know, what happened there? Was it just, you know, a bad batch? Was it a bad manufacturer, or was it like less integrity in the skincare space?
I would love to speak more to, I think, a broader issue in the industry, which I see as being quite apparent in that people want formulas. They want to take formulas to market quickly.
Totally.
And there is this desire for speed. And to circle back to this idea of trends, people see something is trending and the customer wants it now. And so they're pushing things forward as fast as possible. And often what that looks like is that a brand is taking on a white label formula or at least a base formula, and they're adding maybe one or two ingredients to create something that seems quote unquote signature to them. And they're bringing that to market as quickly as possible without the due diligence, without the research, and without the integrity that's required, especially when we are talking about a sunscreen or a product that is produced for a medical purpose. That's so important that that product is made with absolute integrity and where safety is number one. And so I think many people may not realize this, but focusing on proprietary formulas, which I know you and I both developed.
That should be our middle name.
Absolutely. Proprietary formulas, it means that that line is actually bringing something innovative to the market. You're creating something that no one else has developed before. And that requires an incredible amount of research, an immense amount of time and testing to perfect that. And that's where you are slowing down in order to ensure that the product is safer and is made with more integrity. And I think that this, of course, applies to sunscreen, and it really does apply across the board to all skincare products. I mean, what you apply to your skin, is there anything more intimate and personal than your skincare practice? It is this moment, morning and night, where you reconnect with yourself, where you're truly showing deep care and a reverence, not just for your skin, but for yourself. It is where healing happens. Products that you use should be made thoughtfully with integrity, and safety needs to be the absolute number one focus.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and you know, as a dermatologist, I know like things get absorbed through your skin. So if it's, and unfortunately, we've seen in many different countries, you know, I worked in different sub-Saharan African countries where they're putting compounds on that have high levels of mercury, you know, to like lighten the skin. And we could go all, you know, take a deep dive on that, but that gets absorbed, and that's scary. You know, we don't, and unfortunately, like you said, there's just this like push and rush and like anxiety about putting out more and more SKUs, and that you lose the integrity of the formulas and the rigorous testing. So kudos to you. You're very calming. I love it. Yeah.
As are you. I'm just now, you know, admiring your skin from over here and spacing out.
we're fangirling. Yeah.
It's a mutual fangirl.
Yeah. I feel like your calm demeanor translates through the skincare line through LESSE, and it's really about calming this anxiety about your skin. I feel like, you know, the formulas feel great. They feel good on, and it gives a very calming approach to skincare. Yeah. What's your advice for people who are really anxious about their skin? Because I see it every day, you know, people coming in about their pores or breakouts. And
my recommendation, as someone who personally struggled with my skin and felt this just frustration at my skin not showing up in the way that I wanted it to. Of course, our skin is the way that we present ourselves to the world, and we want perfection, But we need to let go of this idea of correcting our skin, I think, and really embrace, our skin as reflective of how we are treating it, our mindset, our stress levels, how much rest we're getting. See and appreciate the transformation that does happen over time. I mean, when we are so focused on trying to get quick results, unfortunately, we're usually compromising our skin barrier and actually spiraling our skin
Yeah.
to a much darker place. And so we need to, I think, really just take our time to appreciate the compounding results that do happen over time and respect the pace at which we can transform our skin. And again, we can never lead our skin to a sustainable transformation without allowing it to take its time. We are in the height of fall here in New York. It's all of a sudden the humidity has just severely
I
dropped.
know.
Everyone's feeling very
You and I
dry.
miss it. Yeah.
Exactly. What many people don't realize is that it really does take our time skin to adapt to that fluctuation. And
Totally.
that's why skincare is so instrumental at a moment like this. This is where, you know, deeper hydration, mask treatments can really help
Hmm.
our skin, support our skin through that transition period. And then our skin begins to adapt and it becomes a little less sensitive and a little less dry. And we can move back to a slightly more of our standard ritual, maybe with some added hydration, of course, through
Yeah. Yeah.
the winter months. But it's all about supporting our skin to that place where we really are seeing the results and then ensuring that we are keeping up the good work to sustain that level. And also, of course, we want to see compounding benefits over time.
You say it so eloquently because we are
Mhm.
animals. So like we go through these cycles. And I
Mhm.
always tell my patients, things take a good 4 to 6 weeks, maybe longer,
Mhm.
depending on your age. The skin doesn't turn over as fast.
Exactly.
And, these things take time. So you really have to have the patience and put in the diligence. And we don't shed like animals, but periodically, we shed our hair and
Mhm.
that really makes people anxious. Like hair loss is a whole nother
Yes,
topic. But
I know.
yeah.
I was actually, not to go completely off topic,
Yeah.
but I was diagnosed with an autoimmune disease
Oh
2 years
wow.
ago and I lost so much hair. I've always been someone with a lot of hair.
Yeah,
So
for
it was a
sure.
real identity crisis and I'm much better now. But yes, what is happening to our skin, to our hair is so reflective of both what's happening internally and the environmental stresses out
Mhm.
there. And that is really where high quality, efficacious products come into play to
Yeah.
really help get us back on track.
Yeah.
But it's a bit of everything.
Yeah.
We've got to focus on stress, diet, all of the above too.
Holistically, yeah. And
Exactly.
like you and I are both trying to break through this noise that's going on social
Mhm.
media because like you said, the fads are just endless. And like now people are making skincare at home and
Oh my
all sorts
goodness.
of things.
Please don't buy
Yeah.
skincare from a farmer's market.
No, I know. What do you think the new wave of skincare or the future of skincare? Is it going to be science based? Is it going to be slow beauty? Is it a combination of both?
Mhm.
You know.
I think you hit it on the head. I think it's a combination of both because really taking your time, I think actually goes hand in glove with a more scientific approach to skincare. It's where you can really take your time to develop something that has real scientific basis. And when you're not rushing things to market, when you're not trying to launch a new product every 3 months,
Mhm.
that's where you're actually analyzing what do people really need and what are the kind of formulas that are actually going to be truly beneficial without overwhelming the skin. I hope that slow really becomes viewed as more of an intentional approach.
I think you're right. I mean, I so many people ask me like, "Oh, you should come out with these SKUs and those SKUs," and I'm like, "Well, it's not intentional. If it's not
Mhm,
intentional for me, I don't want to do it." And there's a lot of big brands who just constantly roll out SKUs and
mhm.
then discontinue old ones, which
Exactly.
I always find interesting from now that I think about marketing. I never really had to think about it before, but
Mhm,
now that I think about it, this this psychology that goes into the human behavior of like constantly wanting something new or
mhm.
different, it doesn't really play well into skin because you need that consistency and you need that constant to really anchor your skin to have a good point. And I think you probably said this when we were chatting one time, and I believe it too, is that people are amazed that we only use like very few things, and you could
Absolutely.
still achieve great results.
Absolutely agree with that. And to your point about brands launching a bunch of products and then discontinuing them, it's so important that once someone becomes reliant on a certain skincare ritual, that those essentials are there to support them throughout any stage for years to come. I mean, we should be focusing on building out, I think, this consistent ritual that is going to continue to support and improve the health of our skin. That's truly the bottom line. And once your skin does become reliant on a product for a brand to pull that from the shelves, that really leaves people out to dry. And
Yeah.
so, I'm so happy that you and I share that philosophy around really just launching products that we believe are truly needed and are essential.
Yeah. And I love that you use the word ritual because it is your skincare regimen can be very ritualistic.
Mhm.
It's sometimes it's the only free time or peaceful time someone has,
I hear you.
Yeah. And like just the act of putting it on and the sensorial aspect of it can be really soothing too. And I don't think you can understate that.
Definitely. Our tagline is actually ritual, not routine.
Oh, nice.
And that really derives from the memories that I have of my grandmother. So, actually, my maternal grandmother, who was mother of 5 children. I was the eldest grandchild, and her house it was just an open door policy. Neighbors, cousins, second cousins, everyone was welcome. And it was a really beautiful but chaotic place to be.
I can picture.
I was allowed in if I was very, very quiet. But, twice a day, she would go into her kind of bedroom with an ensuite, and she would close the door and block out all of the noise, and she would sit down, and she had all of these beautiful glass jars and bottles, and that was her moment to herself. That
Wow.
was her ritual. And I just have this vivid memory of how beautiful she was in that moment when it was really just about and for herself. And I've always wanted everyone who experiences less to experience that same ritual. And so therein, that's
Yeah.
what we
You were
we
destined to be a skincare guru.
we do
Yeah.
not utter the word routine
Yeah.
in our world, simply because we want to remove the pressure of that routine of feeling like you have to wake up and do X, Y, and Z. And we really want to put forward this philosophy of embracing a ritual that is mind, body, and skin. I guess
Yeah.
that's
The mind, skin connection is fascinating because we
yes,
see it. Especially with skin diseases like eczema or
mhm,
psoriasis, they flare when people get stressed.
exactly.
So that emotional response to your skin, there's a direct neurotransmitter link, and
Mhm.
we see it in real life. And you know, we have to address that too at some point. But I think your idea of the ritual is it's beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah. How do you feel that less will evolve in the market as the industry is constantly evolving? I think we're seeing some great things like
Mhm.
transparency and transparency in ingredients and formulations.
Mhm.
We're also seeing some wild things,
Yes,
like
we are.
Gen Alpha, exfoliating to the
Mhm.
high heavens. So how do you see it evolving? How do you see yourself fitting in? Or
Uh,
maybe you'll always be like,
we well, first and foremost, we really focused on writing our own playbook
nice.
and really not following path that anyone else has carved, but carving our own. And I think that is such an important piece. And obviously, the skincare world is highly saturated. And in order to create your own space in this oversaturated industry, you really need to define who you are by your own terms.
Hmm.
But as far as the way that I believe that will continue to evolve, for us, it's just about going deeper in what we do. So refining and focusing on greater sustainability, more innovation, and continuing to do what we do well now, but to an even higher standard. And I think constantly committing to that improvement and embracing what potential will come through by way of technology and the innovation that will present to us is what we're focused on.
Amazing.
How about you?
Yeah, no, I mean, no one's ever asked me that on this.
Let's
Thank you.
turn the
Yeah,
mic back to
yes.
you.
Um, I do agree with you. I think, you know, following your playbook, following your you know, your core, and your tribe will follow, obviously, like
Mhm.
people who believe in that as well. I have always taken a science first approach. I
Mhm.
really do love the whole idea of how the skin works and the function and the structure. And for me, my whole focus is laser focus on how do we help the skin perform its best, and
Amazing.
really cutting out the things that impair it or hurt it or
Mhm.
irritate. I think so many people are overly sensitized to so many different products.
Mhm.
There's so many, you know, ingredients that we're learning about that are not so great, you know, and that the industry has widely used because they're cheap and
The
they're stable, you know,
Mhm.
and they can be hormonal disruptors, which, you
Mhm.
know, as a cancer doctor, I see more and more of these younger
Mhm.
patients,
Mhm.
and we have to think about our environment. 'Cause, you know, you grew up in Australia, so you were surrounded by an environment. Like I grew up in New York. It's a completely
Different
different
worlds.
environment, but they both affect you in a certain way. And really how we interact with that environment and how we can protect ourselves is really important, I think, for me.
Absolutely. I think, focusing on how we can support our skin in adapting to its environment
Totally.
is so crucial
Yeah.
to that. And we are really just unlocking, at least from where I stand, I'm seeing so much more substantiating scientific research
Hmm.
to show that there are so many natural ingredients that do this wonderfully.
Yeah.
And so I'm very, very excited about what the next decade will bring in terms of the research, the published studies that will actually substantiate what, you know, Chinese medicine has thought for a long
Yeah.
time, and alternative medicine in general, because it's important that it's very important for us that what we are focused on, the ingredients that we use, do have that scientific
Hmm.
basis. And so we always want to take our time before we embrace those ingredients, and we want to be sure that there's verified proof that what we're putting forth is, yeah, well studied.
In a few years, you and I will be in the rainforest, like looking for.
We will.
Yeah.
We will. We
Yeah.
actually we grow and wild harvest some of our ingredients in Canada.
So cool. Yeah.
And we even have a small facility there that's 100% solar powered, where we can extract on site. So I do actually spend time in the
Nice. Nice.
forest
That's
looking at mushrooms and weeds and different herbs. And it's, not only a place where we wild harvest those ingredients, but where I can actually go for inspiration for future formulas.
and refuge.
Yes, but you are very welcome
Oh,
to
amazing.
a forest walk anytime you're available.
Next episode.
Yes,
Yeah. All right. So we're going to play a little game called Keep or Cancel. Are you ready?
I'm ready. I love this.
Okay. So basically, I'll just name some things and you tell me whether you would keep it or cancel it and why. Skin cycling.
Okay, keep and then cancel.
Oh, nice.
So yes, while you are focused on restoring your skin barrier, maybe you have been using too many actives. We want to give our skin time to recover, but the ultimate goal should be a daily ritual that we can sustain that won't require that time for recovery.
Love that.
Okay.
Nice. Lymphatic drainage massages.
Keep. Amazing for our detox pathways, fantastic for promoting circulation, which we know encourages healing,
Yeah.
and is so imperative to regenerating damaged skin cells.
I always say just do it with clean hands. I've seen so many people try to lymphatic massage their face with dirty hands and then end
No.
up getting like a sty.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness. Okay, that's a good warning for
But I
everyone.
do love lymphatic massages as
Oh,
well. Yeah.
I love a full body
Yeah.
lymphatic massage that ends with a facial lymphatic massage. That's
Amazing.
heaven to me.
What about ice facials and cold plunges? We see that all over social.
Okay, so I have again a longer response. Keep, but don't overindulge.
Yeah.
Fantastic for dealing with inflammation, but we don't want to be over treating our skin with cryotherapy, for instance,
Yeah.
because that can impair the skin barrier. And then also, when it comes to full body cold plunge, I think it's actually really wise, especially if you are a woman, to speak to a doctor, just because it can have hormonal effects.
Yeah. Less is more, right? Like
There we go. There we
that's a
go.
theme.
Yes.
What about LED masks?
Absolutely keep.
Yeah.
LED masks, amazing research behind them. So fantastic for accelerating collagen synthesis, which will help to, really improve the quality and appearance of your skin. And again, promoting resilience, which is key.
SPF reapplication myths.
All right. So
Now
we
we're getting deep.
we all know how I feel about sunscreen. Look, the more sunscreen, the better. I believe it's imperative that you're actually using some form of sun cream, so an SPF cream to where you can visibly see the areas where you are protecting your skin. If you are someone who is not going to reapply that cream midway through the day, but you would apply a mist, it's better to use a mist than nothing. But in an ideal world, you're actually using an SPF cream, not a mist.
You're basically my spirit animal. Yeah. All right.
Same mind.
Yeah. This next one is a layup. Mushroom skincare.
Well, obviously we're keeping the mushrooms. I mean, mushrooms just have amazing adaptogenic properties, so incredible for the skin barrier, tremendous hydrating properties as well. I mean, we use tremellum mushroom, for instance, also known as snow mushroom or the beauty mushroom, scientifically proven to be 400 times more hydrating than hyaluronic acid.
Wow.
We use turkey tail mushroom, just so wonderful for the skin barrier and also prevents hyperpigmentation, helps to treat and prevent hyperpigmentation from taking place. So, I mean, I'm an absolute mushroom fanatic. I'm very excited about using more mushrooms in our future formulas,
Awesome.
actually. Yeah.
Do you eat mushrooms as well?
Big fan of mushrooms all around.
I know what we're having for dinner. No.
Yes.
Algae-based skincare. What do you think?
Keep.
Okay.
I think it's wonderful to include algae. Really great hydrating properties and also just packed full of antioxidants. We use red microalgae in our formulas. And then we also do use just like your standard algae for its anti-inflammatory and hydrating properties.
Cool.
Yeah.
How do you feel about gua sha?
Keep.
Yeah.
Keep, just wonderful for encouraging circulation, but you have to practice it gently. And most people don't know how to gua sha correctly.
Yeah.
People are truly scraping their skin.
I know. I cringe when I see it.
It's really done a few gua sha masterclasses in my time.
Oh, wow.
And it's so much about the way that you hold the tool and also the pressure with which you use it and the glide. I don't think that there's anyone that I've been in a workshop with who has actually understood how to even hold a gua sha correctly.
Yeah.
So you see all of these videos on the internet and truly none of them are really practicing it correctly. I recommend really finding an expert to help guide you on that before you begin to practice any form of gua sha.
Good to know.
Yeah.
I see a YouTube video maybe in the future.
Oh, I don't know about that, but maybe.
Okay. Face taping. What do you think?
Cancel.
Yeah.
It does nothing to you're not ridding yourself of any fine lines. In fact, you're just sensitizing your skin.
To
Avoid.
adhesive. Yeah.
Exactly. Okay, Anthony, we're turning the mic back to you. Are you ready to play a game of this or that?
I'm ready.
Retinol or peptides?
Ooh. I'm a peptide boy. I think people are oversensitizing themselves with retinol. It has retinoids, like what I prescribe, have great properties. They turn the skin over. Sometimes too much is way too much and less is more.
Exactly.
We keep coming back to that. I love that. So I'm a big peptide fan because they do things to the skin. They're messengers or they promote a certain action, or like my peptide blocks a certain receptor in the skin that causes inflammation. So for me, peptides all the way.
Lasers or LED therapy?
Lasers all day long. They're my friend. I mean, anyone who looks at my social can see that I'm lasering myself pretty regularly. No, I never want to overdo it, but lasers are really specific wavelengths of light that can actually interact with the chromophores in our skin. So things that pick up that light. Lasers are so specific and have such high energy that you can really do something like zap blood vessels or make the skin turn over and build new collagen. So lasers. But
obviously in expert hands only.
Yes, of course. I mean, unfortunately, they've gone rogue ever, and you can really do a lot of damage with lasers. So thanks for pointing that out, because you really should see an expert.
A dermatologist.
Yeah.
Barrier repair or exfoliation?
Barrier repair. We have to let our skin do what it does best, which is, protect us. And if you improve the barrier, if you improve, the epidermis and dermal layers, it can really function, keep hydration in, and look its best. So barrier repair all the way.
3-step routine or 10-step routine?
I want to see these people with 10-step routines, like what their life is like behind the camera. For me, it's, easy breezy. 3 steps is so much better. You can really focus, like what you say, there's intention to the process, and you're not just trying to get through steps. You let the products do what they are supposed to do. So 3-step it.
Serum or essence?
Oh, don't make me choose.
It's like choosing a favorite child.
Yeah, exactly. I love essences. They're really impactful. They have these active ingredients that can really do something. Our lactic acid essence has encapsulated lactic acid in it. So it's gentle, but it can help your skin turn over a little bit faster. It's great for hyperpigmentation. But the serum is, our hero product. It really is packed with the active ingredients, and it's so lightweight and moisturizing that you can use it every day. So I can't choose. I'm sorry. I plead the fifth.
Ingredient lists or results?
Oof. I think form follows function, or whatever that saying is. The results are because of the ingredient list, and how well those ingredients work together. So I think they go hand in hand, actually. The results will come from a really curated, refined, and purposeful ingredient list.
Absolutely. And also the concentration of each of those ingredients and the balance is so imperative there.
Like we said, like you can have 100 actives, but if they're all like 0.0001%, like they're not doing anything.
Exactly. They're just basically fillers and they're for marketing purposes. I think it's the same when it comes to really extensive skincare routines.
Yeah.
Where you get to a point where certain products are canceling one another out.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. And it's so funny to have some of these lines put those things together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Prevent or correct?
Oof. I'm a big believer of prevention. It goes a long way. But if you do have something that you'd like to improve, I mean, we have to correct it. But the correct feels like a harsh word. We have to improve upon it. And again, let our skin do what it does best. So I'm a big fan of prevention, but correct if needed.
I mean, I'm sure that when people come in to see you to correct something, that's also an opportunity for them to look at what can they prevent in the future and start to build, a ritual or a protocol that will help them, ensure that their skin is the best moving forward.
Oh my gosh, you're hired. Yeah. Yeah, no, I tell my patients that every day. So this has been an amazing episode. You're so calming, and I love your intention behind the LESSE and behind everything that you've been doing. Our show's called Give Good Face. So what does that mean to you to give good face? How do you show it?
How do I show it? Well, I'd love to speak more to, I think, how we show that through LESSE and how do we give good face. It's all about creating things with intention for results and in support of the long-term health and function and integrity of the skin. And that is so important. I think we layer in so many different elements when it comes to LESSE, from the experience to, beautiful packaging and more of a vision of beauty and a way of thinking about beauty. But when it comes down to it, our focus really is on creating inherently supportive, transformative formulas that will ensure that you can show up with your best skin, your best face. You can give good face no matter what, environmental stressor might be thrown your way.
You're amazing. I love it. Thank you.
You're amazing.
Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts and join us as we explore beauty, confidence, and the art of showing up like only Give Good Face can. Be sure to stay connected. Follow me at Dr. Anthony Rossi for updates, guest highlights, and bonus content. Help us grow the community. Leave a review and let others know why Give Good Face is your go-to for beauty and wellness insights.